What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video we have part 1 of the Great League Remix Battle of Spice with 16 insanely spicy teams featuring Pokemon you've probably never even heard of, let alone battled against. And this is going to be part 1 of 3, and there should be enough spicy teams for me to do 16 battles in each video, but currently there are a fair few people that haven't given me access to their submission, so I can't view their battle, which obviously means they won't be featured in any of the videos. So if you don't see your battle in this video, please just double check your emails to see if I've requested access to your submission. Also, if you do enjoy this video and you are not yet subscribed, you're definitely going to want to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on parts 2 and 3, which are equally as spicy. Unlike the Ultra League Battle of Spice, there are a few submissions with single move Pokemon or just very slightly under level Pokemon, which I have let slide, but if you sent in at least 2 single move or under level Pokemon, unfortunately you've not quite made the cut. Also, one last thing before we get into the question of the day, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that joined yesterday's stream. I'm not really sure how often I will be streaming in the future, maybe it will be a weekly thing, but I can't guarantee anything just yet. But also, I do recall that when I announced my memberships, a lot of people mentioned that it would be much more worth it if I streamed. Well, I hope to see you guys joining as a member very soon. But with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What is the spiciest team you've ever seen featured on YouTube? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so heading into the first battle, we got a very unique theme team here as we got the full Colossus evolution line with Unicolus in the lead. All 3 Pokemon are running hidden power, they all have a different typing hidden power. I'm not actually going to give away which hidden power they are running. I think it'd be a really fun game if you guys try and guess in the comments which hidden power each Pokemon is running. So we go for the Shadow Ball, taking out the Jellicent there. They're now going to come in with a Charizard. We're actually just going to choose to stay in here, and we're going to come in with Duosion, dealing big damage with those hidden powers. We're definitely gonna shield this up. The opponent goes for a Dragon Claw. Duosion is a very glassy Pokemon. You're gonna see this is just another Dragon Claw, but Dragon Claw, even non-stab, does that much damage to Duosion. And if you thought this Pokemon was glassy, well, Colossus has an even higher attack stat. So here we're gonna go straight for the Side Shock, coming in with the Colossus, and you can see huge damage once again with those hidden powers. And I want to remind you, hidden power is not a good fast move, so that just shows the insane damage output of these Pokemon. We're definitely just gonna shield this up here, and we should be able to go for a full hidden power farm down, taking out the Quagsire, and we're able to take that game. So going into next battle, I'm going to see another triple shiny shadow theme team, very typical to see in the Battle of Spice. We're going to lead into Steelix, and this is a bit of an issue for this team, going straight for a superpower, grabbing a shield, and then swapping into a Fire Spin shiny shadow Charizard. So of course, Fire Spin going to be much better in this matchup. We're going to choose to no shield here, they go for a Psychic Fangs, before swapping into Feraligatr. Now we're going to go for a Dragon Claw here. Looks like the opponent did get a 1-turn swap, so that will allow us to outpace them to the next charge move here, and this might grab a shield, they might let it go through. We actually grab both shields from the opponent at this point. So now we're going to come in with the Shadow Dragonite, basically just forcing the opponent to throw the energy. Gonna no shield here as the opponent goes for a Hydro Pump. Okay, that was a bit unnecessary, but either way we can go for the Snarl Farm down with our shiny Shadow Honchkrow. This is probably just going to be another Psychic Fangs. At worst it will be a Breaking Swipe, but it is just a Psychic Fangs. We're not going to overpump too much just because of course we've now been dropped in our defense. Those Dragon Tails would start to add up, and the opponent has a Mandibuzz in the back. Now typically Mandibuzz would win in this matchup, but we've got a 2 shield advantage, so we're definitely just going to double shield if it comes to it. Going first for a Brave Bird. Brave Bird is going to do big damage up against the Mandibuzz. We could have gone for a Dark Pulse there, but we want to go for back-to-back Brave Birds, of course. Going to use the final shield, going for the second Brave Bird, and going to fully undercharge it, of course. This will still take out the Mandibuzz, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we've got Lumineon here into a Tentacruel. Now, the opponent's going to safe swap into a Hakamo here, and we are running Blizzard, it would seem, although it's going to take an absolute age to get there. We're going to let the first charge move go through. Can we get there in time? No, the opponent makes it to another charge move. At this point, we're actually going to no shield, and we just barely hang on. We make it to the Blizzard in time. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. We one-shot the Hakamo. They come back in with the Tentacruel, and we've got a Clang, I think this is. I think it's the middle stage evolution here. But either way, we are going to no shield the opponent base with an Acid Spray. Great call for us. We are running Zap Cannon, but we're going to bait with, I believe this is a Vice Grip, which is a very, very bad move. The opponent is able to outpace us to the next charge move. Gonna no shield once again. The opponent this time goes for Scald, and then they swap, they catch the charge move onto a Drudagon there. We're now going to swap into our shiny Misdrevious here. Honestly, I have to try and remember what these Pokemon are called. Obviously, this is not an English or a native English-speaking person, so they're not playing the game in English, and it's a bit hard to remember what these Pokemon are called. But either way, we go for a Dark Pulse, grabbing the final shield from the opponent. I believe we've got Ominous Wind on the left, and Ominous Wind isn't a great move, so we're probably just going to go for another Dark Pulse here into the Tentacle. And is this enough damage to get the KO? It actually doesn't quite take them out there, but we're able to fast move, farm them down, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we see Florigato into a Mantine. So we're going to say swap into Hisuian Arcanine. The opponent's going to respond with a Dugong. So we're going straight for the Wild Charge. And even though this is non-stab, it will do big damage and slightly more damage than a stab Rock Slide. So we're now going to go for the Rock Slide here. I guess it doesn't really matter that we drop our defense because, of course, Duron's still going to one-shot us, and Icy Wind will not be able to take us out. And they actually bait with the Icy Wind. I feel like because we dropped our defense, they were more likely to bait there, which might have been quite a smart play. But this time we're going to shield. I'm not really sure about that because the opponent will be able to double shield if they want to, and then maintain alignment. So we're actually going to swap back into the Florigato there. The opponent's going to come in with their Mantine, and we can go and overfarm here, going for a Grass Knot. Grass Knot is going to do big damage up against the Mantine, and it's a CMP tie. So at this point, we're going to no shield. Aerial Ace does get the KO. We can come in with Quilava. Of course, this is not a good matchup for us, but they might not be running Water Pulse. It is just an Aerial Ace, so of course we can tank that reasonably comfortably, and the opponent's going to send in their Cresselia. So we're going straight for the Flame Charge. Flame Charge, not going to do much damage, but it does ramp up our attack, and these Embers are starting to chunk. We have got them into the yellow health range. Definitely going to shield. They go for a Grass Knot here, and we are just going to fire off a Dig straight away. So Dig, of course, with the boost, is enough damage to take out Cresselia. They come back in with the Mantine, and we make the catch, catching the charge move onto our Hisuian Arcanine. Aerial Ace takes us out. We can come back in and go for the resisted Ember farm down, just barely taking them out there, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we've got Low Kicks in the lead up against Ariados, so Battle of the Bugs. I've never used Low Kicks before. I don't know if it's quite bulky or quite glassy, but we're going to swap into a Rabombi here. Unfortunately, they do have Air Slash on their Mandibuzz, so going to hit for super effective damage, but likewise we can hit for huge super effective damage if this Dazzling Gleam lands, and the opponent is going to shield the Mandibuzz. Unfortunately, it looks like they can go for a full farm down, but they don't commit to it, so we're definitely just going to no shield here. We're not making it to another charge move. We can now come in with our Purified Alolan Dug trio, and we are actually running Return, which is quite cool to see. We're going to go for a Iron Head though, and unfortunately that doesn't quite do enough damage to get the KO. We're definitely not going to be able to Sand Attack farm them down either, so we're not in the best spot, but the opponent swaps back into Ariados. We're going to come in with the Low Kicks. Unfortunately, everything is resisted, but we end up grabbing a shield, which is perfect for us because, of course, Trailblaze is double resisted, non-stab. It would not do much damage up against the Ariados, but now we can come in with the Dug Trio. We're going to overfarm here and now go for another Iron Head. So, of course, from this range, it takes out Ariados. Let's see, the opponent's going to come in with their final Pokemon, which is a Confusion Galarian Slowbro. We're now going to full send the Return here. Return is able to take out the Slowbro. They come back in with the Mandibuzz, and we're able to outpace them to an Iron Head. And of course, from this range, Iron Head will be taking out the Mandibuzz, and we're able to take that game. Internet, we've got a very interesting theme here with triple flying and fire type Pokemon. Honestly surprised the Charizard is not Shadow, considering we've got Shadow Moltres and Shadow Ho-Oh in the back. But either way, going to fire off a Charge Move, then swap into our Moltres. I'm not so sure about this. Moltres, especially in the Shadow form, is definitely going to be glassier than the Charizard. But either way, going to go for an Ancient Power. Ancient Power grabs the shield from the opponent, and at this point, we're probably not going to double shield the Moltres. Going to let it go through. Aerial Ace doesn't quite take us out there, so unfortunately, they do get a very nice farm down. Now we're going to come in with the Shadow Ho-Oh, and the opponent ends up throwing on alignment there, which is quite unfortunate because I don't think they actually threw on bad timing there, but they must have just lagged by one turn. Either way, we get the full Incinerate farm down, and they come in with the Poliwrath, they reveal it, but then they swap into Dugong, so we're going to bank a ton of energy, swap into our Charizard, and unfortunately they will be able to debuff us with an Icy Wind here, which means Blast Burn will not be enough damage to get the KO now. I mean, it probably wouldn't quite take them out anyways. Actually, maybe it would have done there. But either way, we are not going to attack here, and we're going to go for a simultaneous KO. That's a really interesting play. That means we can now just go straight for a Brave Bird, and of course, it one-shots the Poliwrath, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we got a shiny level 50, or maybe even best buddy boosted level 51 Squirtle with a costume, and this is single move, but this person did say that Squirtle, if it's not purified, only has water moves, and they're all just strictly worse than Aqua Tail, so there's literally no point in running a second move there. It doesn't have any like ice coverage like some of the evolutions of Squirtle do have. So yeah, that is why it's single moved, and I do understand that. They did spend a lot of resources making it level 50, but either way, we're going to go for a Rock Slide there, dealing big damage up against the Mandibuzz. We are going to no shield, calling a bait, and the opponent does bait with the Aerial Ace, allowing us to make it to a second Rock Slide, but unfortunately, what this does mean is the opponent can now just shield and go for a huge Snarl farm down there, which certainly is not ideal. Now, we do have a lot of energy banked on our Squirtle, so we're going to come in with it now, going for the Aqua Tail. Unfortunately, we don't quite have back-to-back Aqua Tails already loaded, so at this point, we are going to no shield. Dark Pulse actually doesn't take out the Squirtle. Squirtle bulkier than I thought it was going to be. Aqua Tail, number 2, grabs a shield from the Mandibuzz. Are you kidding? Now they're going to come in with the Tentacruel. We can go for a full Confusion farm down before the opponent makes it to a Scald. They're going to come back in with the Mandibuzz. Unfortunately, we don't get a charge move or a fast move there, so bit of a robbery, but that's okay. We can go for one extra Confusion, go for the Rock Slide. Rock Slide, of course, will be taking out the Mandibuzz, and let's see what that final Pokemon is. It's going to be a Diggersby, so a little bit tricky here, going straight for the Moonblast, and it looks like the opponent throws on CMP, so if they're throwing straight away, it's probably going to be a Scorching Sands here, so I definitely would shield, and it is the Scorching Sands. Unfortunately, they do drop our attack, it looks like, but we're going to swap, make the catch onto our Squirtle. Of course, this should be another Scorching Sands from the opponent, and now we can outpace them to a Moonblast before they make it to a final Scorching Sands, and from this range this will certainly be enough damage to eventually take out the Diggersby, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we've got Ninjask into a Shadow Dragonair, so it's okay matchup for us. Of course, you can see the Dragon Breath damage is really adding up here. Ninjask, quite a classy Pokemon. We go for the Aerial Ace, we swap into our Shadow Crustle, maybe hoping to catch a Body Slam there, but the opponent overfarms, they go for Body Slam anyway there, so didn't really make an awful lot of sense. But either way, we're now just going to fire off an X's, and from this range, of course, it will be taking out the Shadow Dragonair. They're going to come in with a Magneton, so not ideal, but the opponent isn't going to commit to a full farm down, which is best case scenario for us, because if they farm us down, it's probably just game over in all honesty. We're now going to go for a Mirror Shot, which is a very risky bait, but the opponent makes a catch onto a Bronzong and then ends up shielding anyways. We're going to swap into Ninjask, and can we make it to the Shadow Ball? We are barely able to do so. Shadow Ball is going to one-shot the Bronzong. They come back in with the Magneton, and hopefully we can outpace them to the next charge. We should live this unless it is a Zap Cannon. It's just a Magnet Bomb. Not really sure why they went for that, as it is double resisted. Maybe they are running Zap Cannon, but they wanted to bait. But either way, Wild Charge takes out the Magneton, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, and you can see in the graphic, Delibird actually has a gift as its buddy, which is quite fitting considering it is a, well, it's like a Santa, but as a bird. So it's got a load of presents in its little satchel there. But anyways, we are going to debuff their attack and then swap into Horlucha, which of course, not the best matchup, but we are running Poison Jab, so we are hitting for super effective damage. And honestly, I think we kind of have to shield here just to get a few more Poison Jabs here before we do eventually go down, and we do put them into range where hopefully we can just farm them down. We're going to wait till that Switch Squad come in with the Swellow, of course. Going to shield this up. We have dropped their attack, but definitely going to shield a super effective Weather Ball from a Shadow Alola Ninetales. They're now going to come in with a Gligar, so we are going to no shield, of course, got no shields remaining, and we are going to overfarm, throwing the Brave Bird on the CMP tie. Is this enough damage to one-shot the Gligar? Yes, it is. It's able to take them out there. We're then going to swap into our Delibird, and this puts them into range where one wing attack gets the KO, and then we make it to another Brave Bird up against the Poliwrath coming in. Brave Bird easily one-shots the Poliwrath, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we see Shadow Haunter into Shadow Galvantula, so two very glassy Pokemon. We are going to outpace them, and we're just pretty much guaranteed a shield here from the opponent, as they're going to shield and then go for a debuff, but no, they actually swap into Carbink, but we're going to come in with our XL level 51 best buddy boosted shiny Bonsly here. We are going to shield up the Rock Slide. We're now going to overfarm. Actually, no, just going straight for the Earthquake. Earthquake is non-stab. It probably won't quite get the KO, but they do no shield. It puts them into farm down range. And now let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come in with the Mantine, and we are hitting for big damage here with these Rock Throws. We're going to no shield here. This is just going to be an Aerial Ace, which they which we do end up living reasonably comfortably as well. Gonna go for a rock side, grab that final shield from the opponent, and we get them into the yellow health range. So we're gonna come in with the Shadow Haunter, the opponent trying to go for a full farm down, but they're not able to get there in time before we make it to a Shadow Punch, taking out the Mantine, and now we can just swap into our Hisuian Shiny Sneasel. And I think the safe play is just a shield here. The opponent is going to go and full send the discharge, but we're able to poison jab, farm them down, and take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Breloom into a Dugong, so a fairly neutral lead matchup here, but we can see we've got weak connection, and we're going to go for a Seed Bomb, but it ends up being a CMP tie, which is certainly not ideal for us. Seed Bomb is going to grab a shield. We are going to no shield here, of course. Icy Wind will be enough to take out the very glassy Breloom. We're now going to come in with our Galarian Linoon, and we're not running Body Slam, instead running Dig and Gunk Shot, which is a very interesting moveset. Dig doesn't quite get the KO there, unfortunately, so we're going to no shield at this point. I'm not even sure if we can fully Snarl Farm them down, so we're going to swap into our shiny Shadow Aerodactyl, go for, I'm not sure if we're running Steel Wing or Rock Throw yet, but they're going to come in with a double, so I think we are running Steel Wing because the energy generation looks fairly decent here. If it was Rock Throw, it would be slightly slower, but we are now going to farm up to near back-to-back rock sides. Unfortunately, not quite getting to a second one before they make it to the next charge move. We do grab a shield there, and we can fire off the next rock side just before they make it to that Body Slam. And rock side doesn't quite get the KO, unfortunately, so we're just going to shield our Aerodactyl once more, go for the farm down, and let's see, the opponent has a Shadow Gligar in the back. They will outpace us to an Aerial Ace, so we swap into our Linoon, and the opponent is going to throw a Dig just to make sure they take us out. It actually doesn't quite take us out there, but that might be slightly better for us as we get slightly more damage onto the Gligar there. We can now go for a Rock Side, taking out the Shadow Gligar, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we see a Cast Form into Aurorus, and we're going to swap into a Bite Shadow Blastoise, and the opponent comes in with Cresselia, so hopefully this is a matchup we can now flip because we are running Bite, although Bite's energy generation is incredibly slow, so at this point we're going to shield the first move. I think Blastoise probably can live a Grass Knot, but by the time they make it to the next charge move, I'm not certain we would live this, so we're going to double shield here, going to make sure we fight for switch advantage. We are now down 2 shields though, and I don't think we really need a switch advantage as we had 2 Pokemon that do have coverage up against the Aurorus, but now Aurorus with a lot of energy and Meteor Beams being able to ramp up its attack is quite a scary prospect for us. But either way, we're going to let the Blastoise go down to the Meteor Beam, going to come in with the Cast Form, and the opponent is just going to fire off a Weather Ball here, which is quite a relief really, as a boosted Meteor Beam would absolutely chunk this Cast Form. We can now fire off a Energy Ball here. Energy Ball is going to grab the final shield, so we swap into our Omanyte, and we're able to make it to the charge move on the CMP tie, winning CMP. Ancient Power gets the knockout, and they've got Mantine in the back, so things should be looking pretty good for us right now. They might be running Water Pulse, but I think they just threw on the CMP tie. Ancient Power deals big damage there. Of course, this is just going to be an Aerial Ace as they threw straight away, so probably running Ice Beam as the secondary charge move. We can once again throw on the CMP tie, Omanyte winning CMP, and Ancient Power takes out the Mantine, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Flaffy into a Mantine, so a very good lead matchup for us. The opponent stays in initially before swapping into Quagsire. We're going to come in with a Masquerain, and honestly, this is quite scary. Stone Edge would hit for double super effective, and we no shield, we call a bait, but the opponent full sends it, easily one-shotting the Masquerain. So we're going to come in with the Herdier, and unfortunately they will outpace us to the next charge move. We are going to shield this up as the opponent full sends a second Stone Edge there, so good shield usage this time around. We're now going to go for a Dig here. Dig, non-stab. It does grab a shield from the Quagsire though, so at this point we are probably going to no shield. We can live a Stone Edge. Stone Edge does big damage there, but we do survive it. But the opponent makes a very nice catch there, catching a double resisted Dig, but then they end up shielding anyway, so that was completely unnecessary. Although we did have Thunder for coverage, so I mean if they did end up catching that and no shielded, that would have been quite funny. But either way, we can now overfarm with the Flaffy, going for the Discharge. Discharge easily takes out the Mantine. We've now got a Trailblaze to throw into the Quagsire, coming back in. Trailblaze takes out the Quagsire as well, and are we going to see a full Flaffy sweep here? Looks like the opponent does start to lag there, but that's okay. We're now going to go for a Trailblaze once again, ramping up our attack. Still not doing that much damage, but we swap, we make a catch onto our Herdier. I'm not really sure about this, just because of course we've now cleared our 2-stage boost to our attack. We're not hitting nearly as hard, and we've seen already Trailblaze, even when it was boosted, didn't do much damage. Yeah, we're still we kind of basically need the opponent to be only running Future Sight, and I think that is the case here. Otherwise, they would have just gone for a Grass Knot or a Moonblast. But either way, we can now go for a Discharge, taking out the Cresselia, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we've got Cinccino into a Togetic. So we're actually going to swap into a Shadow Reuniclus. I've actually got no idea which hidden power we're running here, but it's dealing some decent damage. So let me know in the comments if you are able to guess which hidden power the Shadow Reuniclus is running as well. We're going to go for the Shadow Ball, taking out the Togetic, and the opponent comes in with Flygon. So I can pretty much guarantee it's not going to be the Ice hidden power because, of course, that'd be dealing huge damage up against the Flygon. We can now come in with the Cinccino here, or Cinccino. I have no idea how to pronounce this Pokemon's name. But either way, we're going to No Shield. Scorching Sands doesn't quite take us out there. They swap into a Shadow Gligar. We can come in with the Wug Trio, and at this point we can just double shield, go for a full Water Gun Farm Down, and there's not a lot the opponent can do here. They've still got both their shields, but they're not going to be able to use them. We're going to use our second shield here, go for a full Water Gun Farm Down, and Flygon is also in range, where we can just farm them down with the Water Gun damage, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we lead Shadow Giraffe into Salazzle, so we're actually going to swap into our Huntail here, and the opponent responds with Gallade. So I believe we're just going straight for an Aqua Tail. I'm going to grab an early shield there, and they are running a Shadow Gallade as well. So these Aqua Tails have already got them into the yellow health range. We're going to No Shield, of course. Leaf Blade very comfortably take us out there. But we're going to wait out the Switch Shot, come in with our Gorebyss here, and I think this is probably because our Shadow Giraffe is running Double Kick, so that would be resisted by the Psychic typing of Gallade. So instead, coming in with a Confusion User, and we're running Draining Kiss. Of course, Draining Kiss not going to do that much damage here, but the opponent no shields. It actually does more damage than I was expecting. We're now going to come in with a Shadow Giraffe. We're going to no shield. They go for a Hydro Cannon, which we do barely live. And because we're running Double Kick, we're able to get off one and then throw a charge move before Salazzle's Incinerate damage registers. And that is very nice because now we can come in with the Gorebyss, go for a full Confusion Farm Down, and we will be able to take out the Salazzle and take that game. So going into the final battle of this video, we're going to lead with a shiny Shadow Ambipom into an Empoleon. So going straight for a low sweep here. Low sweep, an absolutely awful charge move, but it nearly one-shots the Empoleon. We're then able to snipe with Aromatisse running Charm as well, which you guys know I'm not a big fan of Charm, but I mean, this is pretty spicy Charmer. We're going to shield up the dig here, and we are going to commit to a full Charm farm down. Double shielding a Charm user, not a big fan of that, but it is what it is. We are now actually not going to commit to the full farm down. Not really sure why we're throwing a charge move at this point. They definitely weren't making it to another charge move, but they've got Annihilate in the pack, so this should be game over. The opponent is going to fire off an Ice Punch, which doesn't quite take us out there, so one more Charm registers. We can just come in with either Pokemon. Realistically, it doesn't really matter. We come in with the Ambipom, two more Astonishes, get them low. We can Steel Wing, farm them down with the Unfezant, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.